Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video and have a look at what I'm wearing today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm wearing the smile that this football club has given me because it may just on paper be early June right now, people, but we've added not one, not two, but three top players to this football club to continue the summer rebuild that probably should have happened 2 years ago, but we can't adjust that. All we can do is reflect and react to the news that's happening right now. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, we've added yet another player to the old list. So welcome, Jack Butland. That's right, people. Jackie Butland is officially a Rangers player. And does that not just feel good on the old ticker? Because that's been an area that we've needed to strengthen for far too long. And it's just one of those situations that now gets you excited. Now, when you add a player of that quality and that ability to an area that has been lacking, it just gets you going. I wish the season was starting more, honestly. In fact, I wish I could be a wee bit of share right now and turn back time and just drop Jack Butland in certain situations and certain games with silly goals and all the daft things we've conceded in the last 16 months, and I'm pretty damn sure 90% of them wouldn't have actually happened. But of course we can't do that. All we can look to in the future, and Jack Butland is going to be a massive part of that future as he joins with his big 6'5" frame himself. We finally have an imposing goalie. He might actually come out for crosses and get them. Oh my god, I've needed this. I really have, people. And I think, as always, because we do make rumour videos here on the channel, and by the way, that's free for free now. We talked about Dowell, Sterling and Butland, so it shows I didn't take your time for granted right here on the channel. But as I've said in the last couple of reaction videos, we will try and branch those videos with this video here, because some people don't click on the rumour videos and some people do. So I'll try and keep it as fresh as possible, and I think the best way to do that is actually starting off with the deal in that itself, because getting Jack Butland is a sensational bit of business, especially when you consider the fact that he had offers for elsewhere. Because one of the criticisms I saw in the last rumour video was a lot of people saying, oh, he's a money grabber, or he's a bench warmer, he just cares about money, he's nobody motivated, I didn't want that type of guy in the dressing room. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it has been confirmed that he was being offered a hell of a lot of money elsewhere. He was offered double at Manchester United, and he has rejected those offers to come up the road to Rangers because he wants to play for us, and he wants to get back to his best, and that is being on the edge of trying to win things. So I think that's something that needs to be talked about and something that needs to be praised, because we're all quick enough to line up and take shots at people when they take the money route and they sit there and accept all these wages. This guy has rejected those offers because he wants to be here, and just like Dowell and just like Sterling and everything like that, that's the type of attitudes we need. There is seemingly a feeling of a revolution going on under Michael Beale. There's players that actually want to be up here and they're rejecting money and elsewhere offers to be a part of this project, and for me that is very encouraging as a Rangers fans, and I give Jack Butland sort of a hell of a lot of respect for actually doing that. He's not only filling the gap we needed, but he's doing it on the all cheaper moolah, so thank you for that, big man. But let's go ahead and talk about the man himself, because obviously he is now amongst the sticks. There will be the conversation regarding Robby, McCrorie and Jack Butland, because McCrorie, Robby clean sheets, and I've campaigned for him to get games over the last year in a bit. And does it really change anything for me regarding a Robby McCrorie? No, because Robby was better than what we had at that time. But when you add a player of a calibre of a player like a Jack Butland, for me, having those two goalkeepers is what the club has been built on previously and had so much success in previously. I mean, it's McGregor Alexander-esque, if you actually will. And for me, this is the type of position you want to be in as a football club. No, a McGregor and McLaughlin situation where they both had similar faults and similar issues. You've got two goalkeepers there now that can step in, and I don't think there would be massive problems and massive headaches. For me, again, if you look at it on paper, and if I'm honest, the overall package and what they bring as individual goalies, Jack Butland is obviously going to be Rangers number one. He didn't reject that offer to come here and play second fiddle to anybody, but Robby McCrorie still has a part of this club, in my opinion, in being the number two, playing in the cup games, because there has been some times where he's looked brilliant and other times he comes out and he's flapped out a couple crosses. I'm not being overly critical because we've got Butland. I said that in the match reviews and that as well. I just think he needs a wee bit more time to actually getting consistent game time at Rangers, and I think a year or two of being the number two could actually get him to where he needs to be, playing in the cup games and building him up the way that McGregor was built and everything like that over the last decade or so. So that's who I see that situation being. People I see as moving on McLaughlin in the summer. Obviously McGregor is hanging it up. He's got his testimonial next month, and I believe Jack Butland will be number 1 and Robbie McCrorie will be number 2, getting more match experience as a Rangers first teamer during the cup games this season, to see how he progresses and just how far this young laddie can go. For me, that is natural progression for Robbie McCrorie, because again, he was sitting for number 3 out on the cold, just sitting there getting injured on the bench, but now he's going to be a vital part of the rotation that you're going to be making. So hopefully I've discussed that. I know that's going to be a major talking point in the comment section below. It was in the rumour video, so I've sort of addressed that. But let's talk about the man of the hour then, shall we? Jack Butland. Big Jack Butland, 6'5", English international. Everyone knows the name Jack Butland. Now, some know him because of a certain FIFA 17 card that we won't go into, but if he's half as good as that card for us, I'll be delighted, by the way. But most people have heard the name, knew he was the heir to the throne, was supposed to be this, was supposed to be that. So what's happened with Jack Butland? Because over the last couple of years it has went very quiet. There was a period of time where all you seen was Jack Butland, because we know what the English press is like when they've got somebody that they actually like and they rate. It is absolutely doing your throat, and then they just turn their attention and leave these players out on the cold. So let's tell the story of Jack Butland and let's see what we've really brought in to this football club. Of course, we've already mentioned his height a couple of times. He's an opposing goalie. He throws himself about maybe too much. I've seen some of the criticisms as he loves to come out for corners. He loves to come out for crosses. He's a bit reckless in terms of how he comes out for them, but we'll certainly not be frustrated about sitting watching a goalie stand on his line letting balls drop. No, we might be frustrated the other way, because he just comes out and throws himself at everything. He well and truly commands and demands the ball when it's floating around the 6-8 yard box, if you get my drift. He'll put himself out there, ladies and gentlemen. So anyone that's been frustrated watching balls drop and taking bounces and everything like that in the box and getting second shot opportunities against us and silly goals conceded, that should genuinely be ripped right off the old table right away. Another thing that he'll bring to the table, people, is that quickness of his line, nullifying and stopping those balls. This so simple way to attack Rangers over the last year has just been balls in behind the Rangers defence, getting shots off. Now, we've seen Robbie McCrorie be really successful over the last couple games with the amount of fires that he put out right away, and they aren't sexy and they aren't anything to talk about, but they were for a year and a half, because it just stood there. People would run through and get shots off or sweat it or anything like that. It did become a major issue and a major Achilles heel in this Rangers team, in my personal opinion. But Jackie Butland's just the same as Robin McCrorie, very sharp off his line, gets out there, and again he's got a no bad wee kick in that as well. It's no Alisson level, he's no sitting here like Ederson is going to be picking out wonder passes or anything like that. Still wouldn't necessarily say he's the phenomenal playmaking goalkeeper, but comfortable enough with the ball at his feet. But again, it's the quickness off his line, it's the shot stopping, it's the imposing ability of being a big goalie that I think is going to tick a lot of boxes that we've needed ticked for a hell of a long time. But of course we are talking about a goalie here, so there's no too much I can actually paint in your direction here. I'm not going to sit and talk about, oh, he's right footed, left footed, or he's 5-star skills or anything like that, because that doesn't really make much sense. We know what a goalkeeper can be and what should be. I mean, McGregor was a phenomenal one for many years, and I think Jack Butland will get back to bringing that level of quality and, more importantly, consistency in terms of the goalkeeping situation. So aye, best of luck to Jack Butland in that actual department. But let's get to the numbers and stats then, because again we're trying to tell the story of Jack Butland, how he's ended up the road at Rangers. So let's follow it then, shall we? Because for me, everything we've talked about has been the positive so far, and when he's at his best he's an incredible goalkeeper. But what's happened over the last couple of years as his massive bright star started to fade and fade and fade? Well, as we get to the numbers and stats, that'll probably tell you why that star has faded, ladies and gentlemen, because it won't take long at all. People, ready? Get your stopwatches on the go. Looking at his most recent season of football, which was on loan from Crystal Palace to Manchester United, he has played at a whopping 0 games for the club. If you're a half-full type of guy, you might say he's not conceded a goal all year, but aye, he's not played at all, as he's been sort of the backup to a certain David De Gea, who is not too bad at the old goalkeeping. But of course that's just been this season. Let's pull it back to his most recent season of football then. That'll give you us a wee bit more of an indication of what we're actually getting in terms of player these days. And his most recent season was the previous year, as he played 15 games in all competitions as he came back from almost the cold at Crystal Palace and started to perform very, very well. Conceded 18 goals during that 15 run, keeping 3 clean sheets, one of them being in the FA Cup, where Jack Butland started to get a bit of buzz round his name again, as some of his performances were spectacular as Crystal Palace made a run towards the semi-final as they narrowly lost to Chelsea 2-0 in that semi-final. That's when they were under Tuchel. That's when they were absolutely making finals every day of the week. But Jack Butland was great, especially during that FA Cup run, and gave them an opportunity to reach a semi-final and at least be in that game with some of the saves that he pulled off. But we can't tell the story of Jack Butland without talking about the injury in the 2016 season. People, we have to go back there, because again, everything what we've said so far in today's video about not playing at United, probably, to be fair, he's never going to be playing anyway over De Gea, but only played 15 times the season before at Crystal Palace, etc, etc. What's happened? Because he was so spoken about, and he was talked about being the heir to the throne and being the next big great thing in terms of goalkeeping in English football. What went wrong? And it all went wrong. You could take it back to the 2016 when he picked up that injury playing for England. Again, he is an English international as he played there, and it was just almost an innocuous kick, if you will, versus Germany, and he got a serious injury, and that knocked him out not only for the rest of the season, which was 3 months at that time they were sweating, it actually knocked him out for an entire year of football, people, as there were 2 operations needed to get him back to his actual best. And yeah, what was supposed to be a sweat for 2-3 months ended up being an entire year, and when you're out for that long, obviously there's replacements brought in, there's other people brought in. But the best thing you can say about Jack Butland, because I know everyone's now worried saying, oh no, we've not signed an injury prone goalkeeper or anything like that, maybe we should give it to Robbie. Fun fact, Robbie McCrorie's actually had more injuries than Jack Butland, people, and Robbie's barely played in his career. So let's put some of the fires that's starting to build out, let's just fan it out a little bit. Obviously Jack Butland had a major one that again did derail his career, which was only going this way and this way and this way. But by the time he came back for Stoke, you actually look at the time and where they were, and there a lot of the players and the fan favourites and the team that they had at that time started to disappear. People were aging out, people were moving on, people were getting cashed in on. So when Jack Butland did come back and eventually win the #1 spot back at Stoke, it was a completely different animal from the defensively sound Stoke side that he was really relishing in previously. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Stoke or any Stoke fans that might be watching this, because again, they've got a real affinity with Jack Butland, but they just weren't good. At that time, he's really started to go down like this. We were talking about Jack Butland star rising like this. Well, Stoke was going like this after Jack Butland ended up getting injured. By the time he came in, even Jack Butland making save after save after save and getting praise and plaudits for returning to that level despite being out for so long, couldn't keep them in the old league, and he ended up playing the entire season without recurring any injuries, but it wasn't enough to keep Stoke in the old Premier League. And some people might then say, oh no, we've brought in a goalie who's been relegated before on his list. CJ, what are you actually talking about here, big man? All I will say, people, is the fact that Alan McGregor got relegated from Hull and won Player of the Year that year, the time that we brought him back up the road. So goalies can have fantastic campaigns but still be failed by the players outside of the old box, and I think that's a similar case to what Butland got. A lot of praise and a lot of plaudits for how he performed, but it ultimately wasn't good enough as Stoke went down. I honestly don't know if it was the relegation that maybe made him lose his confidence, or the fact that the media was no longer praising every little thing that he'd done. He wasn't regarded as the golden boy. They had moved on to the likes of the Pickfords and all that at this period in time. He started looking like that, and then the big man was left out in the cold. And I think it goes to show you that's kind of cruel side of football. Again, especially the way the English media treats their players. They will build you up so fast, but they love once you get to a level to start tearing you down and start replacing you in that one so they can sell their clicks and their papers. And I think Jack Butland was one of the biggest casualties of that, as it was no longer Jack Butland this, Jack Butland the year. Now it was Jack Butland the flop already, and the guy was in his mid-20s. It was genuinely incredible to go back and read some of the headlines that was put out about this lad. It just shows you, people, you need to be mentally strong to make it as a football player, because they turned on him so fast. To finish up the story of Jack Butland in terms of numbers, he ended up playing another season in the Championship where, yes, there is that blunder video where I'm making mistake after mistake. I think it's like 2 minutes long. The guy played the entire season. He's got a 2-minute compilation of maybe making a mistake or being beat for this area. Can you imagine the compilations we could make about our favourite players. Do you know what I mean? You could make a 17-hour one of Morelos' misses. You could make a 24-hour one of McGregor, McLaughlin's mistakes over just this season. Alonso, some of the digs and the negativity and the criticism of this lad in Slaughter in this signing because there's a 2-minute compilation of him struggling at a certain point in his career is a bit daft to hold him up to that standard. Every single player that's ever played football could have a compilation made to them like that. I think it's a credit to the laddie that it's only 2 minutes. But that's the season that really done the most damage to Jack Butland in my opinion, not only in terms of how poor Stoke was at that period, but just his own confidence and belief in being the guy. Stoke wasn't anywhere near winning the Premier League and getting went to the Championship, and getting back to the Premier League. They were really just sitting there sinking, and when you want to be pressing, because when he was at his hype, he was talking about winning things and winning trophies, and that's where his goal was. That's what he wanted to be, and that's what he wanted today. And now Stoke was just dragging in the Championship, being a middle to lower tier side at that point. He had to get out, and that's when he went to Crystal Palace. And again, he's had moments at Crystal Palace, but he's fell away. Patrick Vieira came in, wanted to change things round and everything like that. Now he's ending up being out the way. Now Roy Hodgson's back. Maybe he would have got more game times if he stayed there or anything like that. But aye, it was just needing a fresh start. It tried to be at Manchester United, trying to get him away for the situation, because Vieira again wanted his own players into the club. It never worked out, but where their loss could be our gain is something I'm very, very hopeful for, people. And to wrap up his overall footballing CV, at the age of just 30 years old, the lad's played 299 games. The majority of them being at the highest level in terms of Premier League, and again some at the Championship. Despite maybe not playing in one of the biggest teams in terms of defensively and should be keeping as many clean sheets as he did, he still managed to make 81 clean sheets in those 299 games, which is actually a pretty impressive record considering who he was playing for. And of course he made his England debut at just 19 years old, again getting lifted up as Simba, and every time he's pulled on the England shirt he's been really, really good. He's kept 5 clean sheets in the 9 appearances he made before again he was cut down with that serious injury and everyone seemingly moved on. I can't help but look at the likes of the Cantwells and everything like that, and you've seen how they've fell back in love with football because of what the fans have given them, and the competition and the vibe that you need to win every single game. That's ticked the boxes of these top quality calibre-esque players. It's worked for Cantwell, and I just can't help but look at Butland, who's got so many similarities to Cantwell, because it wasn't 7-8 months ago people were making what happened to Cantwell or he's a flop or anything. Now they're all sitting saying this and this about the laddie. I can't help but compare those two players who have got similarly massive ceilings and just think that maybe as it worked for Cantwell, can it work for Butland to get him back to fall in love with his football and being back to the level? That's all I can hope regarding this. I cannot wait to see Jack Butland play. I think I made it quite clear on that, but I think he's the goalie we've needed for a while, ladies and gentlemen, and I can't wait to see him coming out and claiming these crosses. But that's it regarding the Jack Butland video. Welcome to the Football Club from me to thee. Now all I have to do is ask you watching today's video, how do you feel about the latest Rangers signing? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you glad? Or are you mad? Let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, if there is any genuine news out there, rumour or not, we'll talk about it right here on the channel. I won't waste your time with nonsense, people. Until then, take care of yourselves, all the best, and bye-bye.